And here I sit wondering, what video game company is going to be the first to be sued for discrimination? Sony? Microsoft? Ubisoft has a few offices in America, so does EA. Oh, which one of the many people who want to delve into illegal DEI-based hirings is going to get sued into oblivion first? Capcom? Oh, that's certainly interesting. Well, let's get into the facts of the matter. So, that Park Place reports, links again will be in the description, as well, generally, that they're going to increase the percentage of female managers. So, see, in America, you cannot hire based on age, gender, ethnicity, religion. Okay, I'm not 100% religion, because you can actually not hire people on ideological reasons, but I believe there's like some regulations on that. Or disability. So saying, hey, we're going to hire only female managers is illegal. You have to hire the most qualified person. If you hire someone who is less qualified because you want to fill a diversity box, you are committing an act of discrimination against the person who you did not hire. That is how this works legally. And I will show you that in a second. But let's get into what Capcom is doing. The company CEO, Chairman Kenzo Sujimoto, also made it clear the company was committed to ESG in a letter from November 2021. As part of that letter, he noted, I believe that building a healthy relationship with stakeholders through business activities leads to improved corporate values. Now, stakeholder, that's buzzword for stakeholder capitalism, which essentially means that a company does not have an obligation to the shareholders. It has the obligation to anyone and everyone that could be even tangentially involved with the corporation, including outright activists. I recommend you look up stakeholder capitalism versus shareholder capitalism and how the World Economic Forum is pushing stakeholder capitalism over shareholder capitalism. Therefore, focusing particularly on S, social, G, corporate governance of ESG, I recognize our critical issues as 1, developer numbers, 2, diversity, 3, support for education, and 4, ratio of external directors. We will continue to promote ESG initiatives based on the SDG goals of creating a sustainable society and strive for sustainable growth while building a relationship of trust with our stakeholders. Again, note, he is not saying shareholders who are because basically in business, you have an obligation to 2 things. First and foremost, shareholders. No, I mean, the business itself. Now, this is often overlooked in favor of the ruling that you have fiduciary responsibility to shareholders, which comes second. You can't screw over your shareholders. But first and foremost, you have an obligation to the business. Stakeholders include a litany of people who are not shareholders. You do not have any obligation to stakeholders. I don't care what the World Economic Forum says. This committee, ESG, surfaced during the company's 45th ordinary general meeting of shareholders. Say, shareholders, which took place at the end of June. A shareholder question: you submitted a female candidate for external director. However, all your internal directors are male. Please tell me what you are doing to increase the ratio of female managers internally. The company responded, regarding diversity of our board of directors, we select directors candidates who are able to oversee management of the company and offer appropriate advice while considering the skills and characteristics required in accordance to our management strategy and the balance of each individual's career history, insight, and experience, i.e. merit. However, the company then also note that while our internal directors are currently all male, in addition to a woman, going forward, we will also consider non-Japanese directors. Regarding female managers, currently 21.2% of employees are female and 13.6% of our core talent is female. We are aiming to bring the percentage of female managers up to 15, illegal. Looking ahead, we believe we will be able to see more female directors by broadening our scope and increasing the ratio of female managers, Capcom concluded. If this is discrimination, how has the industry been able to get away with this so long? Okay. Before, in order to sue for discrimination, you had to demonstrate what is called significant damages. In other words, actual losses. Like, if I was discriminated against and it cost me $100,000, I could sue. Or, I don't know what the threshold for significant would be, so let's just say 1,000. Then the Supreme Court changed that recently. In Muldrow versus the city of St. Louis, you had a sergeant in the department who was laterally transferred. They argued that they were discriminated against because this moved them away from a lot of the benefits that they had enjoyed previously, as listed here. Instead of supervising intelligent work, she oversaw patrol officers day to day, so she had a downgrade in the respectability of her job. She no longer worked with high-ranking officials or held FBI credentials for joint operations. Her schedule switched from a standard Monday to Friday daytime shift to a rotating schedule including weekends. She lost the department vehicle that came with FBI status. So she lost all that, but technically none of that is significant damages. Well, the Supreme Court looked at this and they said, no, you no longer need to show significant damages in discrimination. You just need to show that you were discriminated against. Supreme Court ruling. What the transferee does not have to show is that the harms incurred was significant or serious or substantial or any similar objective suggesting that the disadvantage to the employee must exceed a heightened bar. Discrimination against means treat worse. Here based on sex. But neither that phrase nor any other says anything about how much worse. To demand significance is to add words, and significant words, as it were, to the statute Congress enacted. It is to impose a new requirement on a Title VII claimant so that the law as applied demands something more of her than the law as written. What this means is, in plain English, is that you no longer need to show significant damages. You just need to show you were discriminated against because the law doesn't say you were significantly disadvantaged. It says, were you discriminated against? Yes, illegal. Now, a lot of video game companies are what are known as zombie companies. They rely on debt to get from project to project to project. Without this short-term lending, they will basically cease to exist as corporate entities. They will go bankrupt. They will not have the funds in order to make it from project to project to project. Now, some companies will be able to survive without this short-term lending, but most of your AAA companies will flat out not be able to. The easiest way for them to get money is to go after investment funds. And as they have spent years promoting DEI and ESG, they are no longer economically viable. They have, take Spider-Man 2 from the Sony leaks. They had to sell 7.2 million units in order to break even. And at the time of the leaks, they had not even done that. So a lot of these companies, they're not making a lot of profit. Their business is not well structured. They have a lot of bloat. So they would have to, so the entire industry is going to have to significantly reshape itself and switch back to meritocracy. And they do not have the time to do so, as digital distribution has royally screwed the AAA industry. Before, if you were a talented developer and you wanted your game to get out there, you had to work for a major publisher. Now you can team up with a group of like-minded individuals. You know, your project will be smaller in scope, and you can just put it out yourself. Or you can work with a AA company, which has become extremely viable. And again, you know, you're not going to have that huge production value, but you can still make the game you want to make. So a lot of the AAA talent, the people that made these companies really successful, they're working at indies and AAs now, where they actually can do what they want to and reap the rewards rather than be treated like absolute dog shit by these companies. And these companies know that in order to reattract this talent, they're going to have to stop paying substandard wages. The industry does not pay developers in video games a good wage. With the skills to program in gaming, you could go to any other sector of programming and make more money. The industry knows if it wants talent, it's going to have to pay for talent. It's going to have to treat its workers right. It's going to have to shrink the bloat in the managerial departments. And it does not want to do that, as, let's be frank, many companies will not survive that. So instead, they are going after the DEI funds, which unfortunately for them are shutting down. Over half of them shut down last year. So these companies are chasing an increasingly shrinking pool of money, so they have to demonstrate that they are the most DEI ESG of all companies in order to get the shrinking pool of money, which then in turn makes them unprofitable, meaning that when they inevitably have to pivot to profit, they will not qualify for regular investments because they cannot demonstrate they can make money. And that is why the industry is screwed. Wait, let me do that again. And that is why the industry is screwed. Yeah. Now that's all I have to say. Hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.